Oh, y'all sound a little weak. How y'all doing today? That's what I'm talking about. I want y'all to be crunk. I'm from this school. Okay. So, yes, my name is Vion Anderson. Thank y'all so much for coming here. I want to be myself with y'all. Is that okay? Can I be bubbly today? Can I be a little extra today? Is this the 9th and 10th grade? All right, yeah, that's where my life was a little crazy. So we're just going to get into this right here. I'm going to give you guys a little background of who I was when I was your age. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about my journey after my father was incarcerated, okay? So we're going to go into that. So welcome, TEDx. Let's go. All right, y'all, so this is me when I graduated from South Gwinnett High School. I wanted y'all to be able to identify. So yes, I graduated in the year of 2010. I thought I was going to be an artist. I thought that I would be on television doing like movies and things like that, but that's not how my life ended up going. So yeah, so this picture is from my prom. I wanted to put this picture here because Miss Collins helped me out with my prom dress. Yes. She was here. She was here. So on prom night, I accidentally poured a drink on my dress, and Miss Collins saved the day, and that's like when I knew I could really trust her with my life at that point. And so we've been close since, so she was able to help me out. I was feeling cute. I was looking good. I was in that neon green. Let me give a little background of little Vion. So this is little Vion. I was a bubbly personality. I was always told that I talked too much. Anybody like that in here? You talk too much? That's my crowd, yes. So I was the kid that talked too much. My grandmother, who is in the audience today, I wouldn't be here without her. Y'all give her a hand, please. Yes, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be who I am today. But she used to tell me, you talk too much. Can you just be quiet? And what stays in this house, what happens in this house, stays in this house. So I went through that in my childhood. I was someone who always wanted to talk, who wanted to be able to express myself, but I always felt like I got in trouble for it. Anybody always get in trouble for talking too much in class? That was me. Your girl was kicked out of the classroom when it was time to graduate. So I wanted to be different. So when I graduated from high school, I went to college, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But I was a theater kid. Any theater kids in here? Yes, Thespian Society, yes. Awkward hands, yes. So I was a part of the Thespian Society here at South Gwinnett, and ThesCon was lit, if you know about ThesCon. But I wanted to be different. So when I was growing up, my teachers didn't really listen to me. They didn't know what was really going on. They just saw a student that was always acting out. And so they would get frustrated. They would send me out to class. I would go in school suspension, almost got expelled, but hey, that's neither here nor there. But I felt like my teachers never listened to me. So when I became a theater teacher for a very short period of time, I said, I want to be different. I want to hear what my students have to say. So I had this board on the first day of school. I created something called the emotion board. I had 3 categories. I told all of my students to get a popsicle stick, write their name on the popsicle stick, and put their popsicle stick into an emotions category before they start class. We have I'm good, not so good, and not good, I need to talk. Do you see the one over there in the right corner, that red? That's the not good, I need to talk. And so that's when I realized that there were a lot of students like you who were dealing with things and nobody really knew what was going on. All they saw was we're acting out, but they never knew why. And so I had 2 students that I talked to that really stood out to me. One student said that his mom was too busy to talk to him. She was always working. How many people got parents like that? They're too busy? Look around, y'all. It's all right. Look how many people are dealing with this. Your parents are too busy. They don't want to talk. Maybe you do want to express yourself, but nobody's listening. Then I also had another student. She said her mom did not like her. Her aunt hated her. Her mom did not like her so much that she made her move in with her aunt. Her aunt abused her. Her aunt told her that she was stupid and that she would be no one in life. And guess what both of these students told me? They said that they wanted to commit suicide. Now, one of these students, he was like really isolated. He was like the nerdy kid, but like, I don't know if y'all know about this. You know that one kid in class, you just don't want to mess with them because they just, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So he was one of those students who would like be one of those like outburst students if you make him mad. Might flip a desk. He was one of those students. And then the other girl, she was the class clown like me. But no one knew because she was always smiling. But these two students wanted to commit suicide. And because we had the emotion board, they were able to talk to me. And so I told them, hey, go talk to your parents, or not the girl, of course, but I want you to talk to your mom. Have a real sit down with her and let her know how you feel. And so the boy, he did it. He ended up like having a better relationship with his mom. And he said, Miss V, I no longer want to commit suicide. I was like, yes, that's lit. And then the girl, I told one of the administrators about it. And the administrator said, oh, suicide's just a buzzword. Don't listen to her. A buzzword. But I knew that it was not a buzzword for this student. And so I had to have another conversation with another one of our admins, and she actually took it serious. And so they were able to get her the help that she needed. And after that, when she was able to actually talk to a counselor and get some assistance, her grades became better. She became actually more happy versus like a fake happiness, you know, that social media happiness that we put on. So she actually became happier and her grades improved. But I wanted to make sure that no one ever experiences this again, and so that's why I'm having a talk with you guys, so that you know that you are valued. So everything goes back to not feeling valued. How many of y'all ever felt like people don't value what I have to say, or they don't value how I feel? I still feel like this sometimes, to be honest. Sometimes people don't listen. Have you ever felt like that from a teacher? Right, that's why we're here today. So everything goes back to not feeling valued. That's why we act out. That's why we have fights. That's why we're being in the relationship with the person that we know that we don't need to be with. All right, there we go. We hitting home today. We hitting home. But everything for me went back to not feeling valued. And it started here when I was 5 years old and my father was behind this glass window. Here I was at 5 years old seeing my dad on the other side of this glass and trying to figure out, when is my dad coming home? My dad can't even see me graduate from kindergarten. I'm seeing people with their fathers. And it was just really hard for me to process. And so whenever I was dealing with things, like I would just cry at home with my mom, but I had nobody to talk to, because what happens in this house stays in this house. And I can't talk too much. And on top of that, are the teachers really going to understand what's going on when you're in a predominantly Caucasian school where people have businesses and their parents are lawyers, that your father is in jail? So what happened was I went from this here to because I didn't feel valued. Your girl was in the vamp stage. She was in the stage, y'all. She was just deep. When I tell you I got clowned at South Gwinnett when I rocked this, they was like, I was clowned. All right, let's turn it down. I know y'all didn't expect that. Y'all see my hair laid and then you see this, it's like, what in the world? So I went to this vamp stage, right? Or back then it was the emo kids, scene kid stage. I was in mosh pits. I was hanging out in the emo hall. Y'all still got emo hall here? Y'all do? That was my spot. I was over there with the vending machines. The vending machines still there? Oh, wow. Yeah, I was in the vending machine emo hall. All right, let's turn it down. That was a relatable moment. All right, so I went through this stage, this emo hall stage, and I really just wanted to be able to express myself. I wanted somebody to just see me. I think Miss Collins saw me. She saw me. But my teachers were just kicking me out of school. They were out of class. They never asked me, Vion, what's going on in your life? I literally had a teacher on the last day of school call security on me so I wouldn't walk the stage because she was just tired of dealing with me. And she didn't even ask me what was going on in my life. She didn't know that my dad was shot by the police not too long ago and had to be revived 3 times because he was involved in a crime. She didn't have any idea, but she just thinks that I'm just being this annoying student that's being extra. And so I just wanted somebody to be able to understand me. So I was in an emo hall. I was trying to, be able to talk to people that understood me in some kind of way. So I just was determined to just be awkward. I was weird. Next. Yeah, so, I was mad weird. Next. I was mad weird, man. All right, so, everything went back to my dad not being there. And so I don't know how many of y'all ever had a parent that was incarcerated, or not parent, a family member incarcerated. And did any of your, higher-ups ever ask you what's going on in your life? Did you ever feel comfortable enough to talk to them about that? Or were you just kind of just going through the motions? Y'all ever just checked out because it's just too much going on in your personal life? Heck yeah. Yeah, that's what I was dealing with. So my dad wasn't there, and I was really just trying to process all this while his punk rock daughter was out here at South Gwinnett High School trying to figure out life. Next slide. So so I was looking like this. When I put up the picture, I thought about this fox. I was like, yeah. So it's funny, but in reality, I put this here because even though you see me graduating here, I was uncertain. I had that same look. I didn't know where my life was going to go. Was I going to be like my mom? Was I going to be like my dad? My grades were horrible. So my state, y'all still do state tests? Okay, my state test, I had to take that thing 2 or 3 times. I know. Yeah, she was struggling. I was in summer school every year, right? Because I was trying to be a class clown. I had a lot of boyfriends that I was hanging out with. I'm just saying. I was just distracted. And I know that some of you guys are dealing with that. Some of you, maybe you're hopping from guy to guy, girl to girl, I don't know how you go. But at the end of the day, those distractions are literally going to determine where you're headed in life. And so for me, I was distracted by all these people. I wanted to be heard. I was over here distracted by whoever I was with, and I didn't know where my life was headed. And then on top of that, I took the ASVAB. Y'all know about the ASVAB? Guess what my results said? It said I was good enough to be a chef, a cook in the military. And I was like, man, I felt like my life was just kind of just like, man, what is the point anymore? So eventually I graduated. I went to Valley Forge Christian College. They accepted me. That was a miracle, and I thank God for my grandmother who prayed me through that. But going to college allowed me to travel. It allowed me to go to different states, and I was able to go spread the gospel. I was able to use my gift of writing. I used to rap, so I would rap in different places. I do have bars, but we're not going there today. And so I graduated, but I still needed to be able to figure out where I was going. So in 2014, I went through homelessness. Our family lost our family home where I was raised, and it was really hard. And so I was living in a car for a short period of time. I didn't tell people because I can't talk too much, right? What stays in the house, So I was having to deal with that, and people didn't know I was struggling. And so I would go to Starbucks, and I would use their Wi-Fi, and I taught myself how to publish books. And so from there, I started my business in Starbucks. And since then, I've published 38 books. And I ain't homeless no more, y'all. And when I was homeless, I had to face this question: would I be who people said I would be, or would I be who I was created to be? And so I always encourage everyone to connect back to the Creator, who is God, because Genesis 1:26. Yes, I'm gonna go there. It says that you're made in God's image and God's likeness. Thank you. You're made in God's image and God's likeness. And so that let me know that I was created to be great. Even though my father messed up, I didn't have to go into his footsteps. I could allow my absent father to determine my destination, or I could have a tough conversation with a therapist or with someone who would actually listen to what I had to say. And so I had to go get counseling, and that's okay. Therapy is okay, y'all. Get the green light on that. It is okay, because a therapist or a counselor is able to give you language for some of the trauma that you've dealt with in your life. And so some of y'all might be trying to pursue success, and you still have wounds in your heart. You're still broken. You're still mad at something that may have happened to you when you were little, like me. I was molested at the age of 6, and my dad was in prison, and trying to process that, I didn't realize it until I was in college. And my professor was like, yeah, you were molested. I didn't know. I just didn't have the vocabulary for it. And I'm not asking nobody to raise their hand, but if you've gone through that, I advise you to talk to someone. That should not be a secret. You need to be able to have that tough conversation and be honest with yourself on how you feel about it. Because if you don't, I call it the balloon effect. If you try to do like a balloon or a beach ball under the water, you try to press it down, eventually it pops back up. And so some of you may try to be pushing your emotions down, you're trying to push down trauma, but that thing pops up. It pops up in anger, it pops up in fights, it pops up in emotional imbalances. And because you're not having these conversations, because you're not talking too much, you're traumatized and stuck. And that's why we see celebrities out here, well, there's stuff coming up, like that balloon, it just comes up. They're in fights, they overdose. Just because they're successful, it doesn't take care of the trauma that they've dealt with. They still got to deal with that trauma. So I had to have the tough conversation. And so what I say is, why have success when you still have wounds? Because your wounds will ruin your success. We see it with people that get lots of money. I'm not a millionaire yet. I'm doing good though, I ain't complaining. But if we have success with these wounds, the money, it fades. And then you're not happy, then you find yourself in addictions, and then what is life after that? All right, so what I had to do was I had to self-reflect on these things. If you want to take a picture of it, you can. Especially if you're planning on going to college, or even if you're not, have a plan for your life. So what do you want for your life? What is the motto of your life? How are you living it? Okay? What talents do you have? If you feel like you don't have any talents, I'm sure you're a pretty good listener. Maybe people are always opening up to you, right? Or maybe you vowed that you'd never do something again because somebody judged you before. This was not a part of the presentation, so I know that's for somebody. Who can benefit from your strengths, right? So if you're an artist, any artists in here? Yes. Maybe you can put your videos online. You can get commissions. Maybe you can be an architect. And then try to figure out, what are some ways that I can make money by using my talents? So those are things I had to reflect on. So yes, your unhealed wounds affects your attitude, perspective, and destination. I had to have that conversation with my dad. I had to let him know that I forgave him, but I did let him know how I felt after all those years of not having him in my life. And even after he finally came back in my life, he disappeared again because I wouldn't be a part of his game. And so that was a tough situation. And I had to learn that you can't take everybody with you on your journey of success. Sometimes having the wrong people in your life will literally knock you off course and knock you off of your destination. And it's okay to not have your family in your success. It's okay. If it's toxic, cut it off, okay? Teachers, I advise you to be attentive to your students, especially if you're seeing some sort of behavior. We're not acting out because we're just acting out. There's something going on, okay? So have those tough conversations. Get to know your students, right? And students, I know it's tough, but be real. Be real and be open. Try to find one of the teachers. I know Ms. Collins was good for me. Find a teacher that's able to listen to you, that you can trust, because your life is worth it. I know sometimes life can feel like it's just kind of just not worth it because you're trying to just push through life. And maybe you've seen some things growing up, but your life is worth it, and somebody will be able to get value from you. All right. This is something I wanted y'all to know. Your parents or your family, their mistakes are not yours. So for me, I'm not allowing my dad and what he did to define me. I'm not my mom. I'm not my father. I am my own person. All right. And last but not least, you can be successful. You can be different, and you don't have to fail. And last but not least, don't quit. I don't care who is telling you that you're not worthy. I don't care who's telling you. Maybe your parents are trying to put you on a certain path for your life, but you know that your heart is called to something different. Pursue it. I want you guys to know that you are valuable, and if I can make it out of here, where I am today, I know that you can make it too. Thank you so much. That's it. And so I have this slide here because I do have books, some students afterwards asked me for a book, and so if you guys want a digital copy, if you need some sort of motivation or encouragement, just connect with me here on this link, and I got you. But we're gonna do a Q&A session. I'm gonna be myself. I want y'all to be yourselves too. I want you to be open. If y'all have any questions, maybe about navigating trauma, family differences, whatever that is, or maybe you want to learn about writing. I'm not sure what you may have a question about, but I want to be a resource to you because this was my home, this was my school, and I want you guys to be successful. So yeah, anybody have any questions? We're gonna pass the mic around. It's cool. It's all right, be yourself.
So you talked a lot about recovering from like family members who would put you down.
Yeah.
And like that kind of thing. I think my question is more like, what do you do when you just don't have a relationship with that person?
Yeah.
Like say it's one of your parents and you know they used to put you down a lot, but now it's like they don't even speak to you.
Yeah.
And anytime you try to speak to them, they're just like not communicating.
Gotcha.
How would you advise like going about that?
Gotcha. I'm currently going through that. My dad just stopped talking to me. Like he literally was like, "I'll never let anything come in between us again," and dude gone, absent. And so, what I would say, even like family, they just stopped talking to me on that side, and I had to be okay with. I know it's hard. I had to be okay with being rejected because life is not always going to be accepting of you, and you have to be accepting of yourself to know that not everyone is going to embrace you, but that does not define you and your value. And so once I like literally was just like, okay, I'm done with them. I had to be done with that side of the family because it was toxic. It was so toxic. And that's when I actually started to see I started to thrive. It's crazy. Sometimes when we're holding on to toxic people, toxic environments, it literally can shrink us down. It takes away our voice, and it takes away our love because we start getting bitter. So I know it's hard. It's okay. I know it's hard, especially when it's a parent. I had to cry. I had to get counseling, and that's okay. But I would say be okay with you. Love yourself first because maybe they're just not in the right place right now mentally. And maybe they won't be, but maybe you can find a community that will embrace you. Like for me, I had to confide in my grandmother, and she's here. I'm so grateful for her, y'all. Y'all have no idea. Get you somebody that believes in you. Get you somebody that can cheer you on even when you don't see value in yourself. When I went through divorce, because I'm divorced, y'all, and I saved myself for marriage, so you know I was mad. So I was mad. I was divorced, and I have a daughter over there. She's over there. But I didn't see value in myself anymore. I literally went to level 0 because I obtained this level of success, and then I had to be dropped down to 0. And I felt like my family didn't really want to talk to me, but I had a safe space. So find a safe space.
You know how when you try to like fail, so how do you cope with being put down? Like, how do you go about being put down?
It's a really good question. So number one, I would say have a support system that you can actually cry on. Sometimes we try to like act like, oh, well that opportunity passed, like it's another one's coming. Sometimes it's like really depressing. Sometimes it really does suck, especially if you're trying to apply for college and they don't give it to you, right? So I would say have a support system that you can be vulnerable with, and just keep going. Like you have to realize that your greatness is, that's who you were designed to be. Genesis 1:26-27. Yes, I am gonna say it. You were made in God's image and God's likeness, so you were made to be great. So it doesn't matter if someone is rejecting you, you have to remember who you are at the end of the day. So that's what I would say. Have a support system, remember who you are, keep creating.
Hello.
What's up, Queen?
Well, I'm a senior and we're going to college soon.
Turn up.
Do you have any tips on how to navigate through college, how to stay true to yourself,
Yeah.
all of those things?
Yes, that's a good question. All right, first things first when it comes to college. You're gonna be pulled in different directions. I think that the main thing to remember is that college will try to strip you of your identity if you don't know who you are. So what I encourage you to do is surround yourself with a good community, and also just build your values before you get to college and keep it before you. I don't want to say a vision board, because people don't usually stick to vision boards, but if it does work for you, do something like that. And also just don't get distracted. Like, I know sometimes we can get checked out. I was definitely checked out senior year. That's how I started failing. It happens, but you have to keep your vision ahead of you, because at the end of the day, you're the person that you have to look at the end of the day, and you have to be okay with your decisions. So don't get distracted. Leave the negative people alone. If they talking crazy, I ain't stressing the day, right? We ain't got time for that. So keep the right people around you. Stay focused. Push past the checkout. My cousin, she's a senior too. She over there. She missed out on school today for this. But yeah, stay focused, and don't let nobody strip you of your identity. So yeah, that's what I would say.
When did you realize that you were set apart in God's eyes, and when did you realize that forgiving people wasn't for them, it was for you?
My God. Oh! I love this. My grandma about to shouting at you. I know she is. Oh my God. When did I realize, I'm just trying to make sure I got this right because I'm tripping. When did I realize I was set apart in God, in that I wasn't for everybody? Is that what you're saying? Man, this is an emotional question right here. Honestly, I feel like my walk with God has been like a roller coaster journey, when times are like high and low. But I knew I was set apart in high school, but I never wanted to accept it. Sometimes we try to fit in with everybody else. I tried so hard. You saw my vamp. Y'all saw my vamp, right? Y'all saw that. I was trying so hard to go the opposite direction, but I knew ever since I was little that God was calling me. And that's so cool that you asked that question. That's a really deep question. But I accepted it again after my divorce, because I'm divorced. And I had to raise my daughter with my grandmother, start life over from scratch. And I had to like really sit down with me and be like, all right, God, I know you trying to get me. Here I am for real this time. And so it was a process, because I had to learn how to trust him again after a heartbreak like that, because I saved myself from marriage, y'all. So you can imagine, your girl was mad. So I was mad. That was a disappointment. But what I had to do was I really had to sit with God again and cry, like really let him know I'm mad. I'm mad with you. Why did you let this happen to me? Why did you let me experience being molested at age 6? You understand? Why my daddy wasn't in my life? I had to really just cry before God. I wept. And then that's when I finally let it go. It took some time, though. I'm going to be honest. It took some time. But I walk with him every day. It's not a perfect journey. It's not going to be a perfect journey, y'all. Walking with God is not a perfect journey. But at the end of the day, you know how to run to your Father. He's the ultimate Father. That's what I had to learn with this whole situation with my dad not being here. He is my Father. So my dad does not identify me. God does. And he let me know that literally in the first book of the Bible, Genesis, in the first chapter, that I'm made in his image and likeness. Not my daddy behind bars. I'm not him, and I won't be him. So I would encourage you, you do know, because you're asking the question, you do know that you called and separated by God. And it's going to be a challenge. People are going to try to strip you of your identity, make you question yourself. But you got to know who you are, because you got to stand before him at the end of the day. And you will see true purpose come out of your life when you say yes. That's what I got to say about that.